I'm Bruno Ziza, and today I'm sitting down with Colin Kerr. Colin is Worldwide Industry Manager for Banking Operations. Thank you very much for your time, Colin.
Thank you, Bruno. Pleasure.
You've been in the industry for 20 years, 9 years at ABN AMRO. You're very involved. We have a Finextra blog as well as participation in Buy-in.
Right.
And you have this thing that you talk about banks and their relationship they have with data. Do you want to expand a little bit more on that,
sure.
what that is?
No, I'd love to, Bruno. Thank you. So I have this saying that the data is the business in banking. So if you think about it, banks only have three things. They have buildings, and they have people, although unfortunately not as many as they used to have. But they have data, and they have more data than they've ever had before. And it's the banks that have the insight into that data, that can really manage that data. They're the ones that can build the best new products, bring innovation to the market, and really understand their own operations and generate the massive efficiencies that they really need internally.
And so we know banks are collecting a large amount of data about the customers and the clients that they have. I know also they're dealing with legacy systems. I think typical systems are 11 to 30 years old. So there's a lot of complexity in harnessing this data to do anything meaningful with it. Do you have examples of best practice organizations that do this well today?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So Citi, I would say, is actually a great example.
Okay.
So Citi recognized that their corporate customers really need more insight into their transaction operations. Yeah. So payments, cash management, all that information coming to them in closer to real time, so they get the real analytics from a customer point of view into their business. The challenge is, though, as you said, banks have all these siloed operations in the back office, and they better know what's happening in the back office before they start sharing that information with customers. So as part of an enterprise BI strategy, I really think they need to have a good handle on their internal BI operations, and then they can filter that information and return it straight back to the customer.
And so what's
interesting,
Citi's
a great example.
So Citi's a great example. I think also just not thinking about analytics inside the organization, but analytics outside the organization, right, with business customers and so forth. Now, we've seen a big trend towards doing a lot of work in banking in the back office and taking that to the front office. Is there any leading trends that our folks are attending this program should think of?
Sure. So I'd coin another phrase, if you like, self-service BI.
Sure.
So you're
what
right.
Is that?
Banks have traditionally had masses of reports, perhaps hundreds or even a couple of thousand of reports, and most of them, they're from the same kind of data, and they're just slightly different in terms of the formats or the kind of data elements that are being included. So self-service BI means that you consume that same data and you create user profiles and allow them to slice and dice that information as befits their role or their profile. So you really cut down on the number of reports you have to manually create, and you basically put the tool in the hands of the customers. So if you're looking in a retail banking environment, you can look at customer profitability across the branches, across the different products. You can look at the performance of your sales agents as well from an operations perspective. So self-service BI really takes it to a new dimension.
And it helps the people on the front line act in more actionable fashion with their information. I think about recommendation models. You know, when I go up to a teller, I'd love for them to suggest new products that would be appropriate to my profile.
Absolutely.
That's a great example here. So let's recap here for people that are watching this program. The three things they should remember about banking and analytics. What are they?
Three things. The data is the business. Clean up your own house before you start sharing that information with your customer. It's all part of an enterprise BI strategy. And the third thing, as we said, self-service BI. Empowering the users with the information so that they can act on it independently.
Colin, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Bruno. Pleasure.
Until next time, I'm Bruno Ziza.